we adapted to that. So now we have an Android app working with drivers. We also realized that if we rely too much on just the Android application, then again it would put a question mark on the scalability part of it. So we work very closely with a lot of cloud telephony companies, where we try to connect the customer and the driver through telcos. So we do that as well. Yeah, so those are the things that we focus very heavily on.
Now, we have so many entrepreneurs here. I would like to, you started like just, I think, 4 years back, and now you are at the stage where you are making some money, maybe you'll grow. So you must have learned a lot of lessons. Also, this husband and wife thing you said basically. So how to manage that? So what are the critical lessons you would like to tell us from your 4-year journey?
So one is that stay very, very focused, because when we started, at times we got distracted, like though we made money out of traffic project, but now I guess if we have to restart it, I don't think we'll do that. That was a distraction. So staying focused is a very important lesson that we learned. Another thing is that be very focused on the problem statement, but be very flexible with your approach to solve that problem. That was another big lesson, that you can't start with one business model and say, okay, this is my business model, engrave it, and it's done. That it doesn't work like that. And the third lesson is even more important, that a business model that doesn't work today at certain numbers, certain circumstances, may work maybe 4 years, 5 years later. For example, if we had developed a mobile app for drivers maybe 4 years back, it would not have worked, but now it would work. So you have to go through the iterations of trying again and again. It's more like, I was having a discussion with you the other day. My wife is a scientist, so at times she just observes me and Mukesh trying various things, and she comes to me and she's like, the way you guys do entrepreneurship is no different than the way I do experiments in lab. You change one parameter, you run that experiment again, you change another parameter, you run that experiment again, and you do like 10 experiments and maybe one succeed. And you get 3 continuous consistent readings, it's okay.
Other thing is this model replicable by someone who sees your model? And somebody uses something similar, and what steps are you taking? Or how difficult it is to replicate this model? What you are doing?
So I would say, anyone could start a dial-rickshaw company, like the way I guess video cab companies, in each and every big city we have like 20, 30 video cab companies. So you can't stop entrepreneurs from trying. The way we want to create so-called a differentiator is mainly the use of technology. Make it easy for customers to access it, have a huge traction for drivers in terms of income, in terms of visibility that you give them, and also we focus very heavily on creating the brand and building a strong team that would stay with us in a very long journey. We strongly feel that it's a very long journey. We have just started to change the ecosystem of auto rickshaws. There are others who are participating, like very recently there was an event organized by Shell Foundation. They are studying this auto rickshaw space very, very in detail, and they have sponsorship from partnership from in other groups as well. And when we went there, we realized that there are 45 other entrepreneurs trying something similar, and I hope all of them do well. But when we competed with them, we realized that it's mainly our technology and the vision that separates us, and that's why I guess there was a competition where we were kind of emerged as winner, and I hope that we'll maintain that lead in the long run as well.
Excellent. So, what's your next stop? You started with Pune, and the model is already working. So, what's your next stop now?
So, next stop is we have already done a pilot in Bangalore. So, we'll be doing a commercial launch in Bangalore soon. We are waiting for the next round of funds, which will be institutional fund, and then we'll go to Bangalore. And after these 2 cities, I think we'll look at partnering with other entrepreneurs in different cities and introduce some kind of model where we empower an entrepreneur there so that he doesn't repeat all the mistakes that we did, and use the lessons, the brand, the technology platform that we've created to start in other cities. Franchisee would be one, yeah. And not just in India, we get inquiries from other Asian countries as well. So at this point of time, we are mainly focused on raising funds, making our system highly scalable so that others can replicate it, and building a very strong technology and ops team and an analytics team to join us and build solutions that would empower other entrepreneurs to try something similar in other cities.
Wonderful. It's almost 21. We have audience here. We have a lot of questions from what I could ask if I met you once. I would like to open the forum to questions by audience. So please.
Hi, my name is Sajid. I just wanted to know, I have tried hiring a auto rickshaw through Autovale a couple of times, but I have failed because your drivers are always occupied. So what is the total number of auto rickshaws you did in the first year, and what is the present number of rickshaws what you have right now? And what are you doing to overcome this issue? Because I have failed a couple of times in getting through. I'm really looking forward to using it at least once.
So firstly,
is it a good problem or a bad problem?
it's a very good problem to solve. So for the reasons that firstly, sorry for all the inconvenience that you had, and secondly, thanks for letting us know, because most of the customers don't tell about this. See, problems are at different level. One is that location is important. So depending upon which part of the city you are calling from, we may or may not have rickshaw in that city. Second is the time of the day that you are calling. Like, quite possible that if you had called maybe like 10 minutes earlier, you would have gotten it. Like maybe more like railway reserve. There are customers who joke that it's easy to get your seat confirmed in Tatkal than getting a rickshaw service. So that was the scenario 2 years back. And the third thing is that the fleet that we have on the road. So, and that's where analytics play a very important role. So one is that we have to predict, like morning area, this kind of demand will be coming from this area. So we have to predict better, and we constantly work on improving those algorithms. And if there is someone who can do that job better in this audience, then please give us a call, join us, we need you. Second is that we work with drivers, and we kind of reshuffle their shift timings as well. So every month, every week at times, whenever required, we get the dump of previous week or previous month, and we do the demand gap analysis, and based on that, we reshuffle the drivers. So we keep doing that exercise, but trust me, there is more demand. There's always more demand that we can serve, which is a good thing. That keeps us motivated to do more, not just in Pune, but in Bangalore as well. But the advantage is that since we picked auto rickshaws, there are like 50,000 auto rickshaws. We soon, like slowly, will get there where we have like thousands of rickshaws connected to Autovale platform, so that hailing is easy. Chances of you getting served is higher, and more awareness from the customer side. There is more traction from the driver side, and that's what we intend to get. It's mainly a traction thing that we have to create.
What's the fleet size? You didn't get the number.
Yeah. So when we started with 5 drivers, then 25. We got angel fund, and there was a point of time when we were running at 300 auto rickshaw drivers. Currently, we have somewhere between 200 to 250 auto rickshaws, and any given day present on the road.
Thanks, ma'am. Please. Yeah.
So my question is about funding. Your experience-wise, typically when you go raise funding from either angels or VCs, then the big question is about the equity sharing. How much and why? So I'd like you to comment on what you sort of went through and what were the sort of the pros and cons of getting funding that way. And the related question is also employee retention, or actually getting good employees. So when you're not making money and famous, you're not assuming that you're in the startup stage, then how do you get employees to join? What's your experience there in terms of offering equity to them, for example? Can you comment on these two things?
Sure. So is it fine if I answer the second question first? Yeah. So talking about hiring, we had tough time. We still kind of struggle at hiring, convincing an employee to work at half his market value and saying that, these are the ESOP that will give you, and one fine day our dream will be successful and you will be rich too. So there are stories, but it's tough. So when we conduct the interview, we are very convinced that he's the right candidate. Me and Mukesh are I think we'll convert him. He also looks promising. He's like, okay, let me go back to my home. Let me discuss with my parents, wife, family, and after 1 week he'll call. I think I'll work at full salary and no equity. So it was tough to convince employees on equity. Very recently, what we have started doing is that we give them a more of a convertible note, where part of their salary goes as a convertible note, which they have an option of either encashing or converting to equity at some point of time. So that's working in certain cases, but yeah, I still feel that those who are real entrepreneurial, who want to take risks, they mostly start their own business.